Now it's time to add our first transition. Final Cut Express offers you a library of many transitions that you can add to your edits. If you click on the Effects tab in the browser, you will see a folder labeled appropriately Video Transitions. If you double-click this folder, another window will open with all of Final Cut Express's available transitions categorized in bins. Let's take a look at a dissolve transition by double-clicking the dissolve bin. Transitions that have names in bold are transitions that when added to your timeline will play back in real time. Before adding a transition, we need to go over the concept of media handles. Media handles are the extra video and audio material that extend beyond the in and out points for each clip in your timeline. You can also think of media handles as the unseen or hidden portions of your clips that become available whenever you need to do things like change the length of a clip or add a transition. To add a transition, simply drag the transition icon from the bin and drop it on a cut point. You can view the transition in the canvas window by positioning your playhead before the edit, then hitting the space bar. If you need to lengthen the transition, you can drag on the right or left edge of the transition to make it longer. To replace a transition with another one, again you simply drag and drop. Let's close the dissolve bin and open the wipe bin. Now I'll drag this edge wipe into the timeline and drop it onto the dissolve transition. Final Cut Express replaces the dissolve with the edge wipe while keeping the dissolve's original length. As an alternate method of adding a transition, you can park your playhead at any cut point and then choose your video transition from the Effects menu. There are numerous effects you can add to your clips in Final Cut Express to visually spice up your program. And just like transitions, they're found in the Effects tab of the browser. Double-click the Video Filters bin to open an array of effects bins that are categorized by style. If, for example, you wanted to flop your image in the timeline, you would scroll down to the Perspective bin, open it by double-clicking, and then locate the Flop filter. You also might have noticed this red line. This indicates that you need to render this effect before you can play it back. So what's rendering? It's the process of building the effect to your hard disk. In order to render your effect, select the clip by clicking on it once. Then choose Render Selection from the Sequence menu. When Final Cut Express is finished, the red line will be replaced by a dark blue line telling you that the effect can now be played back. Now I want to show you an alternate way to add an effect. In this next example, I'm going to add a Gaussian blur to my clip. To add the effect, I need to select the clip in the timeline by clicking on it once. Then from the Effects menu, choose Video Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur. If I park my playhead over the clip, I can see that the blur is applied to the clip, but for my taste does not have enough blur applied, so let's look at how to modify a filter. To modify a filter that has already been applied to a clip, all you need to remember are two words: double-click. I'm going to double-click this clip with the blur applied, which will load the clip into the viewer window for editing. To make adjustments to the effect, just click the Filters tab. Since I would like more blur rather than less, I'll drag this radius slider to the right until I see in the canvas window the amount of blur I want. Keep in mind that you can add as many filter effects as you like. For example, in addition to the blur, I may want to desaturate the clip. I simply choose the effect from the menu and then dial in the amount of desaturation with the slider. As a final step, you will need to render the effect before you can see them played back. We're now going to look at how to change the speed of a clip. This water ski clip is especially suited for a speed change, so we'll apply a slow motion effect to it. Start by selecting the clip, then from the Modify menu choose Speed. A dialog box will pop up which will prompt you to enter a speed as expressed as a percentage. I want to slow this clip down by 50%, so I'll type 50 in the percent field and then click OK. Notice that any speed change you make on the clip will give you the red render bar, which means you'll need to render the effect before you can see it played back. In the interest of time, I already have a clip rendered out at 50% in the timeline, so we can see what it looks like. Next, we'll look at animating and compositing in Final Cut Express. If you want to add titles to your program, Final Cut Express has some great tools for you. If you've been paying attention, you may have noticed that there's more than one way to accomplish any given task. Adding a title is no exception. Titles are actually called generators in Final Cut Express, and just like transitions and effects, can be found in the Effects tab of your browser. Additionally, Final Cut Express provides a shortcut on the viewer window called a generator pop-up that allows you to select your title from a handy menu. I'm going to choose Title 3D to bring up my title generator. To create my title, I just start typing at the cursor position in the window. To change the text attributes, I simply highlight the text. Repeated clicks on this button allows me to cycle through all the various fonts and typefaces that are available on my computer. Clicking on this button allows me to change the size of my text. There are also some other sliders and dials that will let me do things like skew, scale, and change the kerning of the text. If I want to change the color of the text, I can click on the Color Fill tab, then click this color chip to choose a new color from the color picker. If I want to add a border to my text, I'll click the Edge tab, then click inside one of these boxes to add a border. Drop shadows can be added by clicking the Drop Shadows tab, then clicking inside one of these boxes. If I want control over my shadow properties, I just drag on these sliders. What is especially cool is this Style Palette button. By clicking it, you'll get a library of pre-built title styles that you can instantly apply to your text. For example, if I wanted my text to have a metallic 3D look, I would simply select that style of text from the pop-up, then double-click the typeface that I wanted to apply. Let's try another typeface just for fun. I like this Outline typeface under the Outline 1 heading, so I'll try a few of those. Once you're happy with the look of the text, close the Style window, then click the Apply button. Now we want to add this title to our timeline. I'm going to do what is known as a superimpose edit. A superimpose edit does exactly what it sounds like. It superimposes one clip above another clip in the timeline. To set up for this type of edit, you'll want to make sure that the track that you want to superimpose above has the yellow target light turned on. Now simply place your playhead anywhere over the clip you want the title to appear over, then drag the title into the canvas window and choose the purple Superimpose overlay. Look at that, instant title. If you hit your spacebar to play the sequence, you'll notice that titles do not need to be rendered in order to see them on your computer monitor as indicated by this green bar. If you want to change the length of your title, you can click and drag on the edge of the title clip to make it shorter or longer. If you want to edit the title further, simply double-click on it to load it in the viewer, then click on the Controls tab, which brings up the title input controls. Now just click on the gray Title 3D box to bring up the text edit window to change your text, and when finished, you just click Apply and you're done.